guys, welcome to Seekho Fireside Chat. Today we have Abhishek, who is a growth strategist, career coach, and what's something really interesting is that he's a luxury curator also. So welcome Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Abhishek, we're really excited to know about your journey. So could you please walk through your journey?
I will do that. I'll do it very simply for you. Delhi person who never stayed in Delhi for the longest time. Grew up in Missouri in the hills in a boarding school. Played a lot of sports. Got fortunate, went to the UK to study. Very fortunate to study at the best schools in the world. But found my love for luxury. That's not what I was studying. And opportunities came along and I took them. Worked with the biggest brands in the world like Tiffany & Co. and Gucci, both in UK and India. But then when I was working there, life had other plans. I got this very unique opportunity to work in EdTech out of everything. And the company I work with, the CEO had spoke to me that this is something they're doing, which really appealed to me because I love talking to people. So I just took the opportunity and ran with it. And I'm still running. It's 4 years, and that's it has been.
That's amazing. Actually, I was coming to that question only, that how this pivot, luxury to EdTech, were it two different fields, and how comfortable were you with this pivot?
So for somebody who is not in my shoes, they feel it's different. But if I tell you something, luxury and education are two industries that are so related because I only talk to people all day. And I have no other skill than communication. I only love talking to people. If I give you a simple answer, I speak to 10 to 15 new people on a regular day. That's what I love. Shift came around because when I was working in luxury, I realized people tend to spend exorbitant amount of money on buying a diamond or a bag, not thinking twice. But when it comes to the kids' education or career guidance, they think 100 times. So it's almost ironic that we say that luxury begins where necessity ends, but people forget that education is a luxury. So that's how it's been very comfortable because I have not left my passion for luxury die. I'm always up to date what's happening in the industry. In fact, you can say I've tried to blend my passion some way or the other, educating people about luxury as well. So yeah, that's not been that difficult as it seems.
Awesome. So it's not really difficult to take a pivot. Awesome. So what skills do we really require to be in your current role?
Okay, so one thing is communication because I think that is a very generic answer for every industry. If you can talk to people, I think you can get half the job done, right?
Absolutely.
Other thing is if you know how to solve problems. And I'm not saying get everything done yourself. It means just be a little critical about what is happening around you. How can we make things better? I have one common rule in life which I love, which I learned from my parents, that wherever you go, you make places better or you don't join the team. So I think that's one thing. Another thing is you have to be very honest in what you do. The second you feel you're not doing a good job, it's better for you and the company that you leave because you are wasting everyone's time and value your time more than anything.
Right. So you mentioned a very good point that if you're not doing a good job, please leave the company. It's difficult to accept that thing. So I think there's a lot of introspection also we need at your current role. Okay, one interesting question. Startup or big MNCs? What's your preference?
I started working, like I told you, I work with Tiffany & Co. A very structured corporate, so much so that I can't move a T. Like without getting some approved. So I think I really love the structure. I learned a lot from it. But coming to a startup, now the company I work with, they're growing like anything. I realize I have worked in every possible domain, which is the best part because you learn on ground, you are more responsible. I think you become a leader before you know it because you are just helping everybody around you and you acquire so much. So personally, I think when we are in our early 20s, always go with the startup. Structure helps you, but I think I would go for startups the way I've learned. So basically, you're being paid to learn.
True, I agree. I agree. All right. Where did career coach come in the picture?
Very good question. So it was never on my mind, but if you look at the journey, I was always working with UNICEF India. I was helping students in basic things, even in high school. I'm working with UNICEF India from the last 7 years now, not realizing it. But I never thought I'll want to work in education. But when I joined the company I work with, they're an EdTech firm, they deal in career guidance also. I'm like, let me understand how a counselor works to be able to grow the company better. But I found my passion towards it. And I specialize in international education because I shouldn't be saying it, but a lot of people are misguiding students, which really bugs me. So if we can help somebody reach the best possible destination. Proud to say that I work with kids who've gone to Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford in the last so many universities. So that makes you happy. That phone call is priceless when somebody calls you like I got in.
Yeah,
so it's fun. I really enjoy it.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So what I understood that you have learned a lot. You were in MNC, you were in startup. What are 3 skills that you want to give to our Seekho audience, that you should definitely work on these 3 skills?
Okay, so I think I'll make it very simple and tell you where it comes from. The first is start with why. Be very curious wherever you go. You know, even if I'm at the airport, I'll bug people to ask them what do they do, like not strangers all the time. But it's really fun to know what kind of jobs are there. Imagine you're sitting here at a time where metaverse is being curated.
Yeah.
Places like Disney also are hiring for metaverse planners. It's not even a job. Think about it. So always start with why. Ask people questions. Always build a range.
Mm-hmm.
Now, building a range is about, how do I discover my favorite food? By trying out different things, right? How do you figure out the right skills? Until you try, you don't know.
Absolutely.
So I think always do that. And last is, we go to a doctor after 6 months to get a checkup done.
Right.
You have to stop and think again. You have to have a career checkup as well. Is this working for me or not? If it's
Right.
not, just move on. Like, there's nothing wrong. It's not necessary. In psychology, I'm not a psychologist, but it's called escalation of commitment to a losing course of action, which basically means just because I thought I'll be a doctor throughout my life, and I don't want to become a doctor now, I will continue because log kya kahenge. So I don't think that's important. And just by the way, all these 3 things are name of 3 books.
Oh, okay, that's nice. All right. So Abhishek, now I want to understand, how do you foresee your journey in upcoming years or months?
I'm glad, Nidhi, you said months, because we can't plan for the future. It's almost funny when somebody asks that. But I think when we're moving forward, I just want to grow. And I also want to make the place I go to grow. I have a few plans in mind, like, I have this thing by this age, you need to get the boxes ticked, which pandemic has derailed. But I personally feel I would continue taking opportunities that excite me. And I want to keep learning something new, because otherwise I'll be way too bored. Like, I want to figure out something that excites me, and maybe that job doesn't exist right now. It might change. So yeah.
Wow. So what I understand is that you like working on different areas. So what are the advantages of working on different areas?
You get to meet people from very different industries, and
true.
It's almost surprising now. The clients have worked in luxury. I'm mentoring their kids because they build the trust over time.
Yeah.
So I think you tend to get opportunities from everything. And also I always say, working in the UK, my director used to tell me that, Abhishek, you can't speak to people about politics and cricket all the time. You have to know about every possible thing, right? And these are easier things. So I think more I know, the more people I can connect to. That's how you network. That's how you grow in your journey. Right. So I think that's why it helps.
Right. And what are some skills that you are using in your current role?
My job is purely strategy, how a company grows. That's one part. Other thing is, because I'm like a qualified project manager as well, so I create and execute projects. But one thing I'll say is, skills are one thing, getting a certification always helps. So a lot of young students who are early 20s, they feel getting a degree works. I personally feel getting skills and certifications help more, because no recruiter is hiring for degrees anymore.
Right.
So I think these small bits have helped me. Like, even if I'm a coach and I'm not certified, they'll be like, I'm a sham, right? So you rather get qualified just even for the sake of it, because that gives you that advantage. So whatever skills I have, I want to back that up with the certification.
All right.
So you have a proof of paper.
Great. Very well said that recruiters are no more looking for just degrees. It's more about skills. So guys, Abhishek has mentioned a very good point, that degree is not the firstmost thing that recruiters are looking for now. It's more about skill development, right? That's great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So one thing, Abhishek, I want to know is that luxury curation.
Yeah.
People in India are not very aware about it, and I can say that we are also scared. We always want to go and make career in safe fields.
I agree.
So how did you find a passion for luxury, and what were the steps that you took for it?
So I always had an eye for this, that I always look forward to it. Couple of my people in my family were jewelry designers, so I really liked the work they did. But when I went to the UK to study, I was just so blown with the kind of effort this industry takes. It's not just about the opulence of it, right? One important thing I want to say is, I have worked at the 2 of the most expensive streets in the world, be it Old Bond or Sloane, and my director used to tell me, Abhishek, you can't imagine the power of people walking in on the streets. And I can literally promise you, from Sachin Tendulkar to the owner of Victoria's Secrets, I've met them, they are my clients, and I'm like, okay, you have to deal with them. And these are the biggest possible people you'll ever meet in your life. If you can deal with them under pressure and get things across, you learn so many skills. But the easiest thing about luxury is, you need to be aware about the industry. And it's not just about selling something, it's about storytelling. That's the most important skill.
Absolutely. So storytelling and communication, these are the 2 skills that you have mentioned in your answers.
Yeah.
how do we work on our communication skills? Guys, I'm sure you might be also thinking that everybody says that communication is the key. But
Yeah.
how do people who are not right there right now, how can they work on it?
So I'll give you a simple example. If Mr. Sashi Tharoor today can read and improve on himself, I think all of us need to take a page from that, because he is the best person or the best orator there is in the world, hands down. The idea is we need to practice, and I know it seems a very generic thing, but I'm very amused. I speak to a lot of 17, 16-year-olds today. They say we used to read. I'm like, what do you mean? We used to read. You have to read. And I'm like, if you're lazy, listen to a podcast. If you are even lazier, go watch something.
Yeah.
Because even if I'm watching a good show, I'll pick up good content. So I'm okay with the way you're consuming information, but you need to get better. Because the more you read, the more you listen, the better you get, and better you can communicate. I owe my vocabulary to Harsha Bhogle, I'm not even kidding, because I have played so many sports and I watch every sport. And the commentators, their vocabulary is flawless. And I picked up half of it through them. So I always say, even if you're watching a game, listen. But listen to good content.
This is a very good point, that listen. It's not necessary that you have to read all the novels in the world. Probably whatever you enjoy, be more open-minded.
Absolutely.
And have more listening skills there. Awesome. So Abhishek, I want to know, how has been your experience at Seekho so far?
It's just been brilliant. You guys have been very kind, first of all, for having me here. And I think I'm very observant. I always see before I decide on something. But the kind of quality you guys are producing in terms of educating people about simple things, that's relevant. And like I just mentioned, skills are important. You guys are making it so accessible for people. That's what I love about Seekho. And yeah, I think that's what you guys are doing. You are true to your name.
Alright guys, that was Abhishek for you. If you want to learn more from Abhishek, you can watch and hop on his series on Seekho. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for being here.
Thank you so much,
We loved it.
Thank you so much.